world has been watching is the change of many policies in China where, with the real estate, they've been having issues. Then there was a debt default of Evergrande. So is there any repercussions that the Indian economy, because we've seen the US stock market take a hit because of what's happening in China, how does it affect India, and does that affect growth in India?
It may have been a concern, but I think largely Indian economy has remained unaffected by it.
And, since we're talking about Indian economy and the recovery, just wanted to talk about jobs. A lot of jobs were lost during the pandemic. How are you measuring whether it's increasing? What would you measure as success? And what indications will you look at? And is India able to restore a lot of jobs that were lost, or are some haven't been permanently gone?
Even during the pandemic, we had announced certain support mechanisms for the formal sector jobs through the Employment Provident Fund organization. We gave relief to both the employer and the employee. We also ensured that through the scheme, the companies who removed workers from their roles were given time to take them back or fill those jobs even with somebody else. And for doing so, we had given them incentives, and that incentive was to continue till June of 2022. But since now, post the second second wave, we have extended it till 2022. 21 June was the first end date prior to the second wave. Post the second wave, we've extended this to June 2022. So every employer who had removed workers have now been told that before June 22, if you fill up those positions, the Provident Fund contribution, both of the employer and employee, will be taken up by the government, and we are going ahead with it. The Labour Ministry's recent data releases and studies have shown that migrant workers who had gone back to their villages, and also more formal employers, have resumed taking people back. And the Labour Ministry statistics, more for formal and less for the informal, are also revealing very positive trends. Only when I was here recently in Washington 2 days ago, data from India also shows that how IT companies have now gone on a very increasing number of recruitments. Gig workers are being also brought in, and more numbers are being taken in. Together with all this, global companies, multinationals who have businesses in India, who have been meeting me here, have been saying that not just for this year, but the forthcoming 2-3 years, they have plans. Companies in logistics, companies in financial sector, companies which are now small banks, companies who are in solar energy area, have all been telling me that not just this year they increased their recruitments, but also are planning for such or more numbers for the next few years in India.
A lot of measures, as you spoke about. We have seen some revival in revenue of some companies, and there has been some recovery after the big wave, So given all that happening, it's budget time is not too far. And, how is it shaping up for India's budget deficit? And can we expect a lower budgeted fiscal deficit? And also, what are your main themes for the 2022-23 budget?
The process has actually not strictly started. The internal steps about assessing each department for how much have they spent of the BE, is there a necessity for revising their estimates, that exercise has just begun. The stakeholder consultations will start early November, post which we'll understand where we are and what are the sectors for which, if any, we'll have to do in some form or the other some assistance. And the theme largely will be determined during that kind of a time. So I don't think we are anywhere near that.